Welcome back to the channel. We're back on our Spider-Man Commander deck profile. So it's Spider UK. For 3 and a white, you get a 3/4, where at the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card and gain 2 life. Instead of casting them for 3 and a white, you could also cast them for just a 2 and a white for the web sling ability, as long as you return a tapped creature to your hand. So we have plenty of ways to make sure we get plenty of creatures during each turn. It's only at the beginning of your end step where you get the draw power. So we're going to tend to want to do it at sorcery speed. This way we can make sure we get plenty of tokens, plenty of ways to get that draw power, that life gain. We're not really focusing on the life gain, but you really could if you wanted to with this deck. In order to focus on the Soul Warden, but we already built Aunt May for that type of stuff. But that's just a general overview of the deck. Let's get into it card by card. Starting us off, we have Arcane Signet for the mana that we'll need, since he is a 4 cost. Ashnod's Altar, we're going to be creating a lot of tokens, so we don't necessarily always need them on the battlefield. Let's sacrifice them to pay that commander tax. Halo Fountain, like I said, we're getting a lot of creatures onto the battlefield, which means that a lot of creatures will end up tapped. We may have a way to win the game with this. If not, getting more tokens or more draw power is helpful. Idol of Oblivion, like I said, we're getting a lot of tokens, so having those additional draw power is going to help us get even more tokens. Catcher's Monument, really good card for this deck because whenever you cast a creature spell, you get an additional creature, which means that you just got Spider UK's ability all off of just 2 cards that are already on the board, and also a little bit of cost reduction there as well. Pearl Medallion for some cost reduction, Skull Clamp in order to sacrifice our tokens in order to then get some draw power off them. Soul Ring for some additional mana, and then Drone of Eldraine for a lot of additional mana or some draw power, depending on what we need. For our creatures, we have Adeline, Responding Kadar. A definite way to make sure we're getting 2 tokens, because we'll have probably at least 2 opponents at a certain point in the game. Giving us those 2 additional tokens, meaning we got Spider UK's ability off. Ancient Gold Dragon, another way to make sure we're getting a lot of tokens at sorcery speed. Like I said, we care about doing it during our turn. We could do it during our opponent's turn, but it doesn't really help too much with this deck if we did that. But this one specifically, when it deals combat damage, roll d20, get a bunch of tokens, which, unless you roll d1, you're going to get that with Spider UK's ability. Cosmoguard Zenith, we're getting a lot of tokens on the battlefield, so we could potentially put a +1/+1 counter onto all of them. But the main ability you're looking for is creating 2 human soldier creature tokens. This way we get Spider UK's ability just off that, even if we just cast maybe Skrell's Hive and Smothering Tide for the turn. Defiler of Fate for a little bit of cost reduction. This way when you cast your white permanent spells, you get an additional token. What's it called? So it helps you get Spider UK's ability super easily. Enduring Innocence, we're creating a lot of tokens, which means a lot of draw power off this card. Esper Sentinel, another cheap creature we can just put onto the battlefield, allowing him to just sit there and draw his cards. Exalted Sunborn, another way, first way to double up our tokens. We're creating a lot of tokens, so why not create double a lot of tokens? Halia, Guided by Light, we're having a lot of creatures enter, so we may as well gain a little bit of life off that and draw some cards during our end phase. Hero Bladehold, Battlecry, whenever this creature attacks, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. That's all that we need there for Spider UK's ability, getting us that draw power and a 2 life. Knight of Luminary, whenever this creature enters, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. This creature entering plus that token entering, that's all the creatures we need for Spider UK's ability. Lhasa Rank, Captain, at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white human creature token. We just need 1 other creature to enter, and there we go. And it's also, you can tap another creature an opponent controls, so I don't really care about that one too much. Mentor the Meek for some additional draw power. We do have to pay 1 mana to do it, but it's anytime a token enters, essentially. Mondrak, Lori Dominus, another token doubler. We have a lot of tokens we're creating, like I said. Same as, what's her name? Not Halia. Exalted Sunborn. And also the thing with Exalted Sunborn too is that you just warp it in and then have it enter during another turn. So you get that ability twice. Moonshaker Cavalry enters the battlefield under your control with flying. All your creatures get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Instead, we're getting a lot of tokens. That's going to be our game ender here. Ocelot Pride. Be your end step if you gain life this turn, which with this having lifelink, we're going to tend to. Or even just with Spider UK's ability. Allows us a lot more tokens. Roaming Drone, we could double up Spider UK's ability. So after being the end step, we get to gain 4 life and draw 2 cards. Rumor Gatherer for some additional draw power, a little bit of scrying on top of that. And then Selfless Spirit, another creature token, sorry, not creature token, just creature, that'll help us get those that protection for our tokens, so we are not as susceptible to board wipes. Not too many creatures in like what we're doing here that like we could return to the hand with Spider UK, but we'll just return a token to the hand. It's fine. Anointed Procession in order to get a bunch of tokens. Kadar's Crusade, like I said, we're getting a lot of, Caretaker's Talent, I forgot, a little bit of draw power, and also our tokens get to become Dreeteries, right, and just 2/2s, not 2/2s, 1/1s. Kadar's Crusade, making all of our creatures get those +1/+1 counters. With all the creatures we have entering, that's a lot of +1/+1 counters everywhere we'd like to see. Divine Visitation, under more creatures you control would be created. Create that many 4/4 angels with flying vigilance instead. We're creating a lot of tokens. Creating a lot of 4/4 angels normally means the end of the game for your opponent. Feldar Retreat, getting some cat tokens. If we have enough tokens or don't have Spider UK, we also get those +1/+1 counters onto our creatures in order to make sure you swing in with less problems. Intangible Virtue, another way to buff up our creatures and also give them vigilance so we're not shields down. Monologue Attacks, cheap version of a Smothering Tide, except it's a little bit worse. By a little bit, I mean a lot. Scrawl's Hive, at the beginning of your upkeep, lose life, create a token. That's halfway there for our Spider UK ability. Smothering Tide, for those treasure tokens, we're doubling up tokens a lot of times, and creating 2 treasure tokens is really useful for us. Decasia's Welcome, in order to get a little bit more draw power. Oh, for some reason I had Elspeth in this deck. Guess not, I think I took her out. For instance, we've called the Copper Coats for a lot of tokens. Charge Mites, 2 tokens is all we need, and this does just that. Flawless Maneuver for that protection in order to make sure we get don't get board wiped. Generous Gift for the removal. Grand Crescendo, more protection, more tokens. All the stuff we like to see for this deck. Moogle's Valor, more protection, more tokens. I don't know if you noticed, but we like tokens. Path to Exile for some removal. Rootborn Defense for some protection. Secure the Waste gives us X11 tokens. That's a lot of tokens at a certain point in the game, especially if we have enough mana to deal with, or if an Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice all the tokens we already have. Stroke of Midnight for some removal. Source of Plashes for some removal. Unbreakable Formation to say goodbye to board wipes. And White Sun Zenith in order to get a lot of tokens in the first place. Then for lands, special one we have is Ogier Tak in order to triple up the number of tokens we have. Getting sacrificing all of your creatures with Ashnod's Altar, getting double the number of tokens you would have had, and then tripling it with Ogier Tak essentially. Then for our board wipes, if Austere Command, make sure we remove our opponent's stuff and not our own. Battle Screech, giving us 2 1/1 birds. That's 2 creatures entering. Finality of Glory, giving us probably be hang at least 2 into this. We could normally pay 10 or more in order to get 10 4/4 angels with vigilance. Hop to it, giving us 3 tokens, which means 3 creatures entering, which means Spider UK's ability happens. Hour of Reckoning, destroy all non-token creatures. It may get rid of our Spider UK, but we'll get him back when he web slings back. Or we may just win the game. Increasing Devotion, getting 5 tokens. Spells cast from a graveyard, create 10 instead. Another way to get a lot of tokens, which means more than 2 creatures entering. Martial Coup, in order to get another board wipe, getting us a bunch of tokens, removing all of our opponent's stuff. Mass Calcify, destroy another board wipe for our opponents, one-sided once again. Nomad's Assembly, put a 1/1 white course each token onto the battlefield for each creature you control. We're going to probably have 2 creatures, which means that we'll be getting Spider UK's ability. Phyrexian Rebirth, destroy all creatures, and create a XX colors Phyrexian Horror Artifact creature token, or X number of creatures destroyed this way. If we destroy a lot of our tokens, that could be a really big guy. Season of Burrow, giving us 5 tokens, or you just get the 2 and recur some other stuff we have from our graveyard, or some removal as well. Tempted Bunnies, draw a card, get a rabbit. At least one other person's going to give you a rabbit, right? If not, we just double it with Ogier Tak or Mondrak. White Sun Twilight. We're going to pay at least 2 into this, giving us those creature tokens, helping us out do just what we want to do for Spider UK's ability. But overall, it's an okay deck. There's better commanders out there who do the same, tokens. He's more of a support piece for another deck, I'd say. But overall, thanks so much for coming to the channel and watching the video. I hope you have a great rest of the day.